All right, this is Arkham Herald Playtest Part 6. Oh my God, 6. Let's pick up where we left off, which was in the hangover phase after a rather dramatic series of events when we were off the record. Let's review the state of our reporters and their conditions. We'll just go in the order presented here. Jessica Vanderbilt is behind schedule and out of her depth. Jessica had a fairly easy time, all things considered, because met up with one of her contacts, the district attorney Autumn Roth, um, and got some leverage over the police and got some evidence directly from police lockup while charming police officers with no consequences whatsoever. But honestly, all things considered, had a good time.
I do owe a flashback for a price of the job.
Oh, very good. Okay, we'll do that here shortly then. Mary Jane, fully stacked with two mythos conditions and one regular. The mythos conditions are now musophobia, that's the new one, and previously shadowed has been changed to marked, worsened, if you will. And the normal condition is marked by Detective Rumlal. Detective Rumlal, of course, being in charge of investigating the murder of Charlie Firth.
I'm gonna kiss
Uh,
her.
I know, indeed. The woman who's built like a fridge and just as cold. Uh, Mary Jane watched some more Charlie tapes and then proceeded to have very bizarre dreams uh, in which she was presented with a black book by the shadowed man. And instead of pricking her finger to sign her name in it, she stabbed the shadowed figure, who then effectively did some horrific transformation stuff. And she woke up from the nightmare in a cold sweat, having, wet herself and the whole thing. And then heard the chittering whispers of a man-faced rat in the corner of her room, and then blinked away, seeing nothing at all. So she's having a time. As a reminder, the only way you can clear mythos conditions is either by resolving a story or by utilizing one of our moves, which is ignore the truth. We'll talk more about that today, I'm sure, because we might have that come up. Um, but moving on, Alphonse, who had the most directly confrontational. Actually, I want to say directly. I think Hester might have that award. Who had the most happen to him? Certainly, Alphonse was kidnapped by the Gemini killer alongside Roar Green, tied up in an abandoned train station and subjected to horrors. Unfortunately, in the ensuing scuffle, Roy Green was stabbed to death by the Gemini in front of Alphonse's eyes. Alphonse himself had the Gemini symbol carved into his chest and was stabbed a couple of times. Managed to drive the Gemini off while ranting and raving about Tia Hiervo, whatever that portends. But those conditions you have are the death of Roy Green. Uh, I would have given you a condition reflecting being stabbed. However, we're going to do a time skip slightly, so we don't have to worry too much about that. I think the death is the more pressing one. And lastly, Hester is famous as always, permanent condition, and you had the condition outnumbered from the scene you were in, so you can clear that. That's no longer a concern. Um, but otherwise, I mean, Hester thought he was tracking down the Gemini, but instead was led into a trap laid by the Gemini's sponsor, as some paid off thugs tried to kill him. Instead, Hester went total freak mode and managed to drive them off. And that is the actions that you all had gotten up to during the previous phase. Looking at our active stories, with the Gemini, you did get a new clue, so you're able to theorize for that one again, or blow this thing wide open. Um, that one's that one's ready to go. Presuming you don't get a miss on it again. Uh, Over on the two cancellations of Charlie Firth, you have 6 clues available for that one, and it is yet to be determined whether Charlie was killed in revenge by a victim or if he caught something on his camera that it was killed to keep it a secret. Um, and then meanwhile, we haven't even touched Bad Dreams at St. Cuthbert's Heart, so I might need to do some stuff on that one. Um, But with that said, before we move out before we go on the record, um, do we have any playbook moves that fire off during the hangover phase? Doesn't seem like it. I know we are owed a price of the job from Jessica. I believe that is it. I don't think anyone else owes any other price prompts. Did you want to do that one right now, Daniel?
Yeah, I think I can do it. I think I can do it
Cool.
fairly
Let's hear it.
quickly. We'll see. We see it's in the upscale neighborhood in Arkham called Brentwood, and we see this woman. It's sunny. The sun is shining. We see this woman wearing this. She's striking. She has silver hair. She's older. She's wearing like this yellow, golden yellow dress and jacket and matching hat. She's carrying something in a little bag. She's done some shopping. She looks very happy, and she walks up this set of stairs to this townhouse. That to her is a townhouse, but to anyone else it'd be like a mansion. We see the key go in. She opens it up. She comes in, and there is her husband, Edison Carlisle, oligarch, one of the wealthiest men in Arkham, and he's sitting there with a tray and with some food, and she gives him a peck on the cheek. Same scene, same like a different day. We see her walking, and she's wearing a red dress, very bold, because inside of the townhouse it's like white marble and white paint with a couple of color accents which this woman appears to be. And the key goes in, she opens it up, she goes in, we see her go up the stairs, and we see Edison Carlisle, oligarch, and he's lying in bed with a reporter that's doing a story on him for Old Friends of Arkham. It is, in fact, Jessica Vanderbilt. Go to another scene, walking down the street in a green dress is Jessica, walking very confidently. She's been doing some shopping. The key goes into the townhouse. She opens it up. She goes up the stairs, and where she places a gentle kiss on the forehead of Edison Carlisle, oligarch.
I'm taking a second just to relish B's reaction of all people's because that was great. Thank you, Daniel. All right, let's go on the record and visit Mary Jane for a quick moment because it's time to visit the waiting room. Mary Jane, you are once more in your oil painting. The same one that, as we established last time, actually is like framed in your apartment, um, which was a really rad detail. Um, though I will note that you did mark the lurking or the crawling chaos last time, so this does have an effect on this move in particular. But we'll get to that here in a moment. Frame the scene for us a little bit here, Mary Jane, in the wake of your past experiences. Where are you and the host found when we come on this scene?
Well, I genuinely forgot that it would change things when I marked a price of knowledge, so that's fun. Um, I think we see them not in an open field this time, but in like a little gazebo that's a little Salvador Dali-esque, like it's melting a little. But Mary Jane very specifically has her back to like one of the like a wooden panel instead of it being open and like, you know, super chill. She's a little more nervous, but they're like having a picnic almost. This is not unusual, but the beautiful Spider Woman is just vibing. Like she seems fully unconcerned. Mary Jane seems less concerned than she was last session, but she's not super chill. Ugh.
Well, the host will be offering you a task this time. And because you have the crawling chaos marked, uh, the nature of the task is influenced by that one. In this case, the task will have a deleterious effect on the entire city. Now, this I'll open to the group for a little group thought. What harmful task Because what is a task that could be asked of Mary Jane here that will be harmful, have a harmful effect on Arkham itself? I'm trying to think here. A part of me is like imagining like poisoning the water supply, not on a grand scale, well, not like a
Like the
terrorist act.
Joker?
Um,
Yeah,
so it's this is late 70s, right? Or is it mid
early
70s?
70s.
Early 70s?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, perfect. So fucking Vietnam, baby. We're just pulling out. We lost. They're not telling the American people that. We decided to leave. No, but fucking hold a peace rally in the park, dog. Nothing
Yes,
gets the tensions rising than
yes.
giving peace a chance, dude. Get some drum circles in there, start putting some fucking flowers and gun barrels. Yeah, man.
The host is it tells you that you have touched the surface of a black lake and the ripples will yet wash over your future self, but for now there are things you can do. There are things you can do in your waking world to bring peace to the city. There are things you can do, and there needs to be a rally, a gathering of people. Let your voices be heard to rally against the chaos
Oh my
that
God.
corrupts the very hearts of your city's soul. But
God.
of course, even you know that the establishments are not so easily swayed. This task will involve harm, but maybe that harm is necessary. Though it is up to you to whether or not you complete that task.
That's
So
crazy.
that is the task that the host has offered you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, how do you feel about that?
I mean, this isn't going to be the first time she's done this, and I think her first thought is like, this is going to make Detective Rumlaw really mad.
Incredible. So we already have three active stories, so I don't need to introduce a new one. Let's frame up the narrative a little bit before we jump into what folks would like to do today. I think it's been a few weeks since the events last witnessed, um, in terms of Alphonse. Alphonse being kidnapped. I think Alphonse, after probably a stint in the hospital, has been on paid leave from work. Is currently, I think, as Wes you mentioned, might be a bit of a shut in at the moment, but we'll explore that here. It's been a few weeks. I have some things in mind for stuff that'll happen with Alphonse in terms of like side characters who might come see him. But aside from that, just to frame of reference, over on the two cancellations, um, enough time has passed now where it's like Charlie's apartment has been cleared out. Like, it's like, the police are continuing to deal with it. And a for sale sign, or rather for rent, is being listed again. That room is, being repeddled now that the case is being moved on to no longer an active crime scene. It's been cleaned, and walking tours, the walking murder tours of Arkham are now regularly visiting that spot to talk about Charlie Firth's death and all that. And then over on Bad Dreams of St. Cuthbert's Heart, which no one's poked into, I mean, the comas are simply worsening. The stories are coming out. More people falling into mysterious comas. The hospital's slowly getting overwhelmed. I wonder what will happen next. I'd love to go around and hear what you would all like to get up to today. Let's start with Jessica.
I would like to shoot the shit with someone who may need to clear a condition.
Okay, that's
Uh,
on the table.
yep.
Anything else you think about wanting to do?
Um, I think if some people are gonna, let's see, Alphonse is gonna turn on to the hospital maybe, or is that, yeah. So I might try. I think we're good with Gemini, with the Gemini. So I think I'll take a look into Charlie Firth, probably with a contact of my own
Cool.
instead of existing side characters. I don't
Yeah,
know.
your stuff is kind of open at the moment, so that's fine. Mary Jane, what about you?
I am very down to shoot the shit if anybody else wants to. I got three conditions. Please.
Mm-hmm.
Please. I think either Charlie Firth or Bad Dreams at St. Cuthbert's because like I think obviously Charlie, she's been investigating this, but also the dream thing is very much like it's her wheelhouse, and she's kind of like, is this related?
Hmm.
Maybe, you
Maybe. Who
know.
knows? Yeah.
So we'll see what we're. I'm gonna CFP power game, and we're gonna balance it.
Love it. No, I'm into it. Alphonse, yeah, you're at home. Or at least that's where you've been recently. What do you want to get up to?
I'm not fucking leaving. You can't. I'm on paid leave. But if somebody wants to bring some files from St. Cuthbert's, have them drop them off on the stoop, and then fucking walk down the sidewalk, and I'll grab it. And once you fucking leave,
Love it. Hester, what about you?
Because me as a player has less than zero interest in investigating St. Cuthbert's Heart, I will drop off the files at Alphonse's place. Uh, however, yeah, like I'm really torn because uh because we do like have like plenty of clues for the Gemini. And so like I probably should be going and investigating Charlie Firth. So yeah.
Okay. Do whatever you want.
In that
Uh,
case, I will CFP power game, and I'm gonna do Cuthbert's Heart.
Great. Someone's gonna do it. Love it.
Yeah.
You're a
Alphonse is
okay.
gonna help too.
Now here's the important
From his
question.
house.
From his house. Here's
I can work from home.
Here's the important question. Will Mary Jane be going to St. Cuthbert's Heart barefoot?
Yes.
That sucks. That's
This woman does not own shoes.
oh God.
Somebody
I can't,
tell Quentin Tarantino.
I can't imagine.
No, don't tell him.
Well, we all know for a fact that Mary Jane like would be played by Margaret Qualley. So I mean, like that
Yeah,
is like this is
so-
very, very true.
It's up his alley.
Hmm. And just yeah, it's already gotten the Tarantino special.
God.
Yeah. I hate the idea of walking around a hospital barefoot, especially in the 70s.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It's heinous.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely
really
heinous.
bad.
Yeah.
But I'm committing to the bit.
Everybody's
Incredible.
smoking.
Oh my
Mhm.
God, it's so dirty.
It's
He's
truly
gonna
terrible.
get tetanus.
Let's talk about this. So we're gonna have Jessica and Mary Jane will be shooting the shit. But yay, Jessica! Oh, have we had like a proper like one-on-one with these two? Oh, I'm excited! Yay! They're gonna be shooting the shit. We'll talk about like the actual like scene here in a moment and framing it up. Just to like cue this up with ignore the truth because there's something in the rules that says a chimp can't play baseball. There's something that says you can't stack ignore the truth into a shoot the shit scene because I'll just read ignore the truth because I've alluded to it multiple times. When you wildly explain away an encounter with mythos phenomena, cross out an available blind spot. As a reminder, blind spots are 3 prompts on your character playbooks. It's a limited resource, and you can describe how, knowingly or otherwise, you deny reality to aid your delusions, and then you can clear a mythos condition. If another reporter buys your explanation of what happened, joining you in joyful ignorance, they also mark XP. So you could do that. You could clear a normal condition and also fold a mythos condition into it if you decided to incorporate that into the scene as well. Let's take just a short break here as we think about our upcoming scenes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're going to start with our scene between Jessica and Mary Jane, who will be shooting the shit. I believe off mic, you mentioned wanting to do like a cafe type scene. Cool. I'll let the two of you frame it up and role play from there. As a reminder with Shoot the Shit, the only thing you need to do is to discuss your personal history or relationship to the job. And if Mary Jane wants to clear mythos conditions, just needs to also wildly explain away an encounter with mythos conditions or phenomena according to one of her blind spot options. Set up the scene and role play.
I have ideas. Jessica, set up the scene. This is your space.
I don't remember what your vice is.
You don't have to use vices in the scene. Keep that in mind.
When do we use vices?
Vices, it uses the silvers thing. It's specifically if you are doing it alone.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
good.
you only use your vices if you're going off and trying to clear conditions by yourself.
Gotcha.
Okay, yeah.
So this would be instead of us sitting in the diner,
Mm-hmm.
Mary Jane and Jessica, and I think Jessica's getting eggs Benedict and has coffee, and an ashtray and like a water, and she has like notes and from some of these cases, and I think that's what the guys was for us to meet to go over notes and stuff. But instead, Jessica seems distracted and keeps saying things like, "Hey, I'm not this all this murder and mayhem. It's just really not something that I'm used to writing. I don't know. It just seems like it's a bit much. I didn't realize Arkham was so dangerous."
Haven't you lived here for like a long time? Didn't you have you had a whole career here?
Yes, but not here in the, on the street levels, not amongst this crime and poverty.
I don't know. I think you're handling it pretty well. I've seen you be bopping around, talking to your people. Like, I think you're doing a good job. I don't know what you're so worried about.
Jessica is looking at you like like she's trying to decide whether you're naive or she's like uh trying to like suss you out, and she's like, no, it's just a lot is going on, but um the stuff with the Gemini killer and what happened
Yeah.
with Alphonse, it just seems, I don't know.
No, that was pretty harsh. I mean, I hope Alphonse is okay. He's kind of been, a shut-in, I think.
And she leans in like across the table and she's like,
I think him and Roy Green were a thing.
Roy Green is dead.
Yeah, I know. That's my point. I think he's sad. Like, I think he's grieving his boyfriend.
I just
Which, like, is really harsh. Like, I get it. That's really sad.
have you seen Alphonse?
Mm-mm. I don't think he's left his house.
We should bring him a care package.
We should. Oh my gosh, we should. Oh, do you have any ideas for it? I don't know what he likes. I mean, he likes Coke, but I don't know if that goes in a care package.
He likes Alphonse. I don't know.
and she like does like a little pat on your hand, like, stop it.
I don't know, Jessica, you've done this whole like you did the whole like listen, I've looked at your old stuff. Like it's really impressive. So you know the whole social thing, the friend of Arkham, you schmooze. Imagine you're like an expert at making these little care packages, getting people all, you know. Like I see what you do.
Do you know, I don't know if you know this,
Mm.
but the old friend of Arkham got cut because of Roy Green.
No, I thought you decided to quit.
No! Um, I wonder if I should talk to Sal. Or
Yeah, because
maybe
Roy
he's
Green's
just,
dead, so you could maybe get back in on it.
something tells me that it's a lot cheaper just to hire another cartoonist.
Mm. Yeah, but I liked your stuff. It was kind of like getting, you know, it was like gossip, which was kind of fun.
It was exactly like gossip.
Yeah, like I don't know why they wouldn't want you to do that anymore. I think the people need it. Like you said, it's rough out there. They need something lighthearted, maybe. You
And
know?
an expression goes across Jessica's face where she's having like a flashback, an internal flashback of all the faces of the people that she has destroyed. And thinking,
Very lighthearted.
Mm-hmm.
maybe not.
Let's cut away from the scene. We'll come back to it though. Because meanwhile, Alphonse, you've been shut into your apartment for some time now. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about what we see around your living space.
Everything is impeccably clean. every surface. There's not an inch of dust on it. There's not a bit of streaks of anything. Every single furniture piece has been polished and lacquered. If it's wood, it has been vacuumed and scrubbed and washed and vacuumed again. If it has any sort of like fabric component to it, if it's plastic, it's out of here. There's not a single shred of fucking plastic in this apartment anymore. All right? All right? All right? Okay? Good. Good. All of the food, gone. Gone. There's only tubs of yogurt because that's all I can have because I got stabbed and my stomach got nicked. It was a less half of an inch of a fucking nick, and I can't have solid foods for 3 months. So there's movies playing on every single room of the house. There's projectors. You can just hear projectors going shh, just reeling. Most of them are pornography. One of them is Serpico. But there, most of it is the one that's playing right now, and it has been synchronized, so they're all playing and synchronized, except for the room that has Serpico playing. It is a movie called it's a Lithuanian pornography film called Gilus Polžemis, which is Lithuanian for the deep underground. It's a gay miner porno film. So it's a bunch of miners fucking underground. They actually filmed in mines in Lithuania.
Miners with an E.
Yeah,
miners. Make sure that we all
digging coal. I'm just here digging for coal. I have to explicitly say that it's miners with an E.
Yep. To the FBI listening, it's miners with an E.
It's miners with an E. The job, not the classification.
Yeah.
And Alphonse looks rough. Alphonse is wearing a stained white undershirt, where you can tell the stains is where some like pus and blood has leaked through the bandage of the chest where the Gemini sign has been carved into his chest. And he's wearing a blue velvet like bathrobe. He's wearing sunglasses indoors with amber lenses because the lights hurt his eyes. And he's been doing nothing but eating yogurt and drinking. When there's like, you can also hear Roy Orbison's crying is playing very loudly.
There is a knock at the door to your apartment.
Gonna go to the door. Unlock, leave the chain, and then crack it open.
Yeah, the door cracks open. You see the face of police detective Jack McLaughlin. Now, this is our first time seeing him on screen, but in the narrative, you probably have seen him like a couple of times since your attack. He's the lead detective in charge of the Gemini case. He probably visited you in the hospital. He's a bit of a dandy. He has these brightly colored patterned suspenders. It always seems like he has a different pair every time you see him. And this halo of tightly curled like hair. And just kind of like he glances at the chain and looks at you and says, "Oh, come on, Neagly, open up."
Fuck. And then close the door and then rattle with the chain and then open it and say, "Get inside, get inside."
Fuck me, you are a mess. Jack like walks in, just brushes past you, fully ignoring you, walks like he like looks around you're being locking again. He begins looking around your apartment and just walks into. Do you have like a kitchenette? What's the situation?
It's a kitchen. Yeah. It is a like as the buildings I'm technically the apartment's owner. But I am under guise of just a tenant that's on the bottom floor.
Oh, right.
But it's the super's apartment.
Yeah, yep. He makes his way into your kitchen, just begins opening cabinets until he finds one with like glasses in it, grabs one, pours, like tap water.
I'm sorry. He's like, "If you want a drink, I'm sorry. All I have is cherry grenadine, and there's this barley liquor from Finland. It's called Koskenvorva Vina. I've got about 20 bottles in the ice chest if you want to knock a dent in it."
He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a packet of Alka-Seltzer, like rips it open, like cracks it, drops the tab into the glass and lets it begin to fizz. He slowly drinks it and he goes, "I'm good. I don't drink on the clock."
That can eat away your stomach lining.
You know what else is eating away my stomach lining? This fucking case. He's like, the amount of ulcers I have received from the opinionated press alone is enough to do in a lesser man. But I am no lesser man. God, you look like shit. Have you showered?
Yes, last week.
Jesus. He like finishes off
I'm
his glass.
injured. And like show the chest and everything like that.
You had a superficial stabbing and you were largely carved.
They nicked my stomach. Half an inch. They
Yeah.
said if more than my acid would start draining into the rest of my diaphragm, the fucking
God,
diaphragm,
yes,
and then it would have gone to the
I
duodenum. You know
read
what the
the
duodenum
reports,
is? It's a thin
Neegly.
layer of muscle that like protects your stomach from your shit river.
Yeah, I know. I was the one who filed the fucking reports. I remember the exact detail. You gave it to me last week.
Did you find him? Anything?
No, I have not found him, anyone yet. So, normally, let's be very clear. The dynamic here is very strange. Normally, I would have told you what I tell everyone else, which is none of your damn business. And I would have said for you to get the fuck out of my way before I had you arrested for obstruction of police investigation. But now you have become the focus of my police investigation. So we got to figure this shit out, right? Your press, I want the good publicity. So we got to have some sort of, collaboration, right? You and me.
What does that look like?
He sighs and goes, well, at this point, what do you want it to look like, Neegly? Talk to me. You are the second person to have been attacked by the Gemini and survived. Now, that college girl, Miss Carter, sweet girl, right? But she's not exactly a valuable lead. Okay, her understanding of the events is so layered behind her trauma that she's not exactly going to yield anything new to the investigation. You, however, come on, Neegly. Cut it to me straight. None of that bullshit, right? You fucking loved it, didn't you? Secretly, deep down, you loved being this close to a case.
Then I got too close.
Yeah,
it was a gross violation of my personal boundaries.
Sure. Of course, but like, I am, of course, apologetic for what happened to your coworker. Okay. Now, and then I think now is when Hester would arrive, probably arriving to visit your apartment, unaware of these events. Hester, you said that you were wanting to swing by Alphonse's and drop off some files to him. What files would these be? What is the sort of stuff your work you're bringing over to his apartment?
I think it's more just the sort of things because like Alphonse was attacked by the Gemini directly, but however, I was attacked by the Gemini's henchmen, as it were. So like I think I bring like my particular notes about like the people who attacked me and whatnot, because I think Alphonse would be motivated because someone played with his little thing. So
yeah. So just your notes on the Gemini case and everything like that? Cool.
Yeah, my notes.
Love it.
Yeah.
I think as you approach Alphonse's door, you can hear a conversation from inside. And I'll say that you all know who Police Detective Jack McLaughlin is because you're fucking reporters. You know his name. I don't know if you have had any interactions with him before. I'll leave that up to you in the fiction. But you can hear him conversing with Alphonse inside the apartment. What do you do?
I knock on the door.
Okay, so in cutting Jack off, there's a knock at the door.
Who the fuck is that?
Did you just spill grenadine all over my fucking pants?
Does somebody fucking follow you?
No one fucking followed me.
How do you fucking know?
Jesus Christ, you're a mess. Jack just walks over to the door and looks through the peephole and says, "It's your fucking coworker, Velakis, whatever his name is." You do know you have a fucking peephole, right? You can look through this thing. Jesus. He begins unlocking your door for you.
Let him in. Let him in.
Opens the door, and you see Detective McLaughlin.
Detective McLaughlin.
Mr. Velakis. I'm not going to ask you what you're doing here because it's none of my fucking business. So come in.
Mm-hmm.
I was just having a conversation here with Mr. Neagley about the matters of his of the attack.
I wasn't aware that my apartment was the bar at the Waldorf Astoria, but here we are. Fuck, I spilled on myself.
When the fuck have you been to the Waldorf Astoria?
That is neither here nor there, but I'll tell you frequently.
All right, cool. Well, then you should have been a reporter in New York and not Arkham. He gives you the most like press-worthy smile, Hester, as he says, right, well, is this some sort of business that you don't want the police here for? Or am I allowed to sit in with this as well?
I mean, I guess.
Oh, you
guess. Could. Yes.
Great.
Because I've seen what you've gotten forward in the case itself, and frankly, it's going nowhere fast on your end.
Oh, geez, you don't say. Hey, I'd like you to meet. He's pointing at Esther and speaking to you, Alphonse. I think of all the gutta press I have read, I think ulcers 3 through 6 have been personally handed to me by Mr. Velakis here at one point or another.
Yes, because frankly, none of you can really be pressed to actually get on down the street level to actually talk to people unless they're dead.
You don't know a damn thing about me, Velakis. Let's get that very fucking clear. You don't know a damn thing about what I've had to do to get where I am and the shit that I have had to. Fuck it. It's neither here nor there. It's none of your damn business what I've been through. What matters, as I was telling Neagley about now, is that as much as I don't like to admit it, maybe there should be a degree of collaboration between yous and me, huh?
The Fraternal Order of Police is hard up for donations, I assume, so they're trying to reach across the aisles.
Fuck you. So,
yes.
He just sticks his hands in his pocket and shrugs.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we talk? The 3 of us, yeah?
It gets me closer to anything else other than this fucking horoscope slayer. What the Fine.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I was just more of a sort of the opinion, Alphonse, that you've been, well, locked inside your house for a while now.
Locked inside? No, that suggests that somebody put me in here. I have been barricaded. I have been secured inside my home.
Is there a difference between being barricaded and being locked inside? I'm not sure at this point. But frankly, I figured that you would want to get to the bottom of this since Roy was under your care, and you might want a little bit this to get resolved. As like I make eyes towards the detective, just like being reserved about what I'm talking about. Here's the thing. This probably may be news to you, detective, but the Gemini is not working alone. I have sort of the reports about a half a dozen individuals in sort of concert with the Gemini.
He broke my nose.
Mm-hmm.
At a fucking movie theater.
Yeah.
Listen, I understand that we don't have the clearest, fucking opinion of each other, but I'm not so blind as not to understand the very real possibility of corruption, especially within the ranks of the higher ups. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can agree on that, right? Things stink, top to bottom.
It was two of your people. Two of your people.
The only
reason you're inside this apartment right now is you know how to dress yourself.
Well, thank you. Like, he runs his hand along his straps and just kind of like shrugs. And he says, Well, considering, did you get, I don't know, names from the two that you were accosted by?
Shoes off! Shoes off, by the way. What are you, fucking
Jesus
raised and
Christ
born? Shoes off!
above
There's
and
slippers
rape.
by the
Jeez.
door.
Yeah, fucking okay. He just shrugs. All this higgledy piggledy aside.
Sorry. No, I didn't catch fucking names, okay? They didn't show up to citation me for parking in front of a fire hydrant.
I'll fucking look into it. Okay, we'll deal with that. Okay.
So what do you want? Okay, if we're collaborating, what do you want?
I want this case to be fucking resolved, and so that we can have a nice photograph on the front papers, the Gemini call, whatever the fuck it says, whatever we do. I just want this to be over, and I'm happy to accept the prestige, but let's just do this where we don't have to be chafing each other's dicks anymore. So he points at you, Hester. You're getting to a point. Please make it.
Well, I think it's more or less of getting Alphonse out of the apartment is my main motivation for being here because, well, Alphonse got away, and Alphonse, I think, as a particular target, is much more interesting to the Gemini than, well, say, the other previous victim that got away. I think the Gemini will strike again against Alphonse, so it's less about paranoia, Alphonse, from you rather than not being attacked. So, effectively trying to ascertain fate, as it were.
Well, all right. Good point. Where do you want to start?
Mhm.
And we can end the scene there if y'all feel like that's a good place. Cool.
Yeah.
Is this a segue into wanting to try to break this thing wide open again, or do you want to save that for the rot?
Let's put a pin in it.
Let's put a pin in it. Sure. Put a pin in it. Very, very good. While we wait for B to come back, I will redirect my questions to Wes and Chaotic. Since that scene will have wrapped up. Alphonse, you had mentioned, doing research on your own from work from home. I'm not sure that your opinions have changed on anything. We can still talk about that, but this scene is wrapped. And then what will Hester be doing? It doesn't even have to be, again, just following the nature of this game specifically. It doesn't have to be the same day. It could be like, and then days later, Hester's doing another case or whatever. What is the next thing you want to get up to, Hester?
I think that like Hester is going to be like trying to figure out the identities of these women who were caught on film with Charlie. Just seeing like, is there anything in common? Can I get like an interview with like one of them or something like that matter?
Totally. That's great. I'll follow that up here in a moment. And Alphonse, do you have a more specific thing you were thinking about, whether it was research continuing from the apartment or something else?
Yeah, I'm going to take the files that Hester brought, and I'm going to do a little thought experiment with the files by people fucking like to do the whole thing in movies where we lay out all the files in like neat lines and we look at them and everything on a table. That's not how people think. So I'm going to be trying to. I can describe it a little bit more in detail when we get to it of the process, but I'm going to be trying a in the apartment and everything like that. So
totally,
maybe utilizing the collection a little bit.
Yeah. Is this you wanting to use that as a narrative segue into eventually blowing this thing wide open, or were you hoping to maybe get more clues out of it?
Yeah, I think probably like a narrative segue into that. Yeah.
Then we'll put a pin in that then as you're bringing to lay things out. Very good. So then that's what Hester will be doing as well. Let's jump, and now that B's back, let's jump back to the scene with Jessica and Mary Jane to angle that towards its conclusion with clearing conditions or whatever this happens. Yeah. Resume.
I think there's like a little pause on Mary Jane's and she's kind of like she's looking at you. I'm like really looking at you, especially if you're like since you've been kind of like I don't know, and a little unsure. And she's like,
Jessica, you've been doing this for a while. I have a question. Have you ever seen anything weird while you were investigating a story?
Now, yes, but out of character, I can't remember what it was because it was like 2 sessions ago, and I remember
Yes.
it was the first time that Jessica saw something like weird.
Yeah, yes. Oh God,
I
I don't
don't
remember what
remember
it
what it
was
was.
Wait,
either.
wait. What were you investigating at the time? Hold
I
on.
can't
I think
remember. It was something weird. She,
it was, but she genuinely did like she
yeah, she
saw
came
something
across something
weird.
weird. That's where she got this out of
Was
her depth.
that
I just don't remember what it
was that
was.
a flashback, or was that in the session you encountered something weird?
It was something in the
In the
session.
sesh.
Oh, hold on. I think I can dredge up the memory of it. Hold on. It must have been related to the Gemini because you've
Was it?
largely.
Oh, was it when you were talking to the girl about the silver key in her mouth
Yeah, I think
thing?
that's what it
Oh
was.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
She explained how like that Dr. Hall, like the
Yeah.
Gemini, like pulled like a silver key out of him. Like it explained a very strange phenomena. Yeah.
So I think Jessica would say now that you mention it, and but everything about this Gemini killer has just been odd. But there was a when I was talking with the victim that survived before Alphonse, now the second victim that survived. She was talking about the Gemini pulling some silver key from Conan. It's just it makes no sense
A key from like,
from inside of him.
oh,
It's like his mouth.
hmm. That's, hmm. And she really like for real remembers this happening. This wasn't,
Well, she was losing blood, and
hmm.
it's pretty traumatic. But it's just odd. The whole thing is just unsettling.
Yeah. I feel that way about the Charlie case. I mean, I think it's probably just it's giving me weird dreams. I think, I think it's one of those things, but some of it feels really real. So I wasn't sure if I was I wasn't sure if I was going crazy or not.
I don't remember my dreams. She puts out her cigarette and says,
Really?
I'm going to see if Charlie has any. He's got to have. This is a stretch. He's got to have friends. Um, I'll see if
The
I can.
stretch.
I'll see if I can find some if he has any.
I
Or call.
mean, I've got people who he had made the tapes with. I've got their faces, but I don't think those
I
are
doubt if they're on
friends.
friendly terms.
Yeah, I don't think those are friends. I don't think he was a pleasant man.
I want
But
to, yeah, I was going to say, since we're getting into the territory of possible clue material that we can discuss as part of the scene, um, let's reach the wrap up of the actual shoot the shit part, and
yeah.
to see if you wanted to also, if you wanted to ignore the truth here, you totally can. Otherwise, you can keep.
Yes. Oh no,
Um,
I was angling for
cool,
one of the blind spots.
cool. Okay, good. Yeah. Let's talk about that specifically, just so we can all understand how it works. So you're going to be explaining away a phenomena according to one of your blind
Hmm.
spots. You have which of your blind spots are you taking?
This must be a dream.
Ah, makes sense. All right, we'll mark that as used. All right, cool. Then continue the scene, and we'll wrap up the mechanical fiddly bits here. Yeah, wrap it up.
It's basically, I think, Jessica paying the bill and like gathering her stuff and is like set on trying to find some friends of Charlie.
Cool.
Yeah.
All
But
right, let's talk about the normal conditions first. Jessica, do you think either of your conditions have been cleared here?
yes, I was going with out of her depth, and I
Yeah.
think that Mary Jane being so supportive and saying you've been this is your town, you've been around, this is nothing for you. I think that bolsters her um, confidence.
I love it. Mary Jane, will you be? Did you feel like you could clear the Detective Rumwalk thing, or are you leaving that?
I don't think that, I mean, like as much as
Yeah,
mechanically that would benefit me, I don't think I did anything
yeah,
to clear
sure.
that.
I agree with you.
Um,
Now,
I
which of
would-
your mythos conditions were you trying to explain away with just being a dream?
Misophoobia feels right
Mm,
because like that felt more dreamlike
sure.
than marked.
Hmm.
Um,
Was waking up and seeing Brown Jenkin and freaking the fuck out about it? Um,
yeah.
Cool. I mean,
Unless
yeah.
you had more narrative plans for that one than the
Oh,
other
I don't
one.
need it. I don't
That's true. You
that
don't need
condition.
this.
Listen, that condition came of you seeing Brown Jenkin. I can still do shit with Brown Jenkin.
Okay, perfect.
I have the
Then
mechanical ability to do so.
Then that one's gone.
Now, does Jessica? Well, I guess because depending on how it was presented in the scene here, like if you feel like you buy that explanation, but it doesn't seem like necessarily you were talking about it in that context of like.
Yeah, I feel like she probably gave some more details, like in the longer, like when we pan out from the camera, like with the camera, we see them in the diner and they're still chatting. And I feel like she does bring up this rat man. She's like, it's totally crazy. Like,
Because you were asking if I saw anything weird.
yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I mean like this kind of weird, like a rat man. Like this is crazy, right?
Yes, that's not real.
That's not real. So so Jessica, would you then say that if Mary's just like, yeah, that's obvious dream, I buy that.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you were
great.
sleeping and come on.
Jessica, you get to mark XP. And Mary Jane, you've cleared musophobia. So rats and mice are no longer freaking you the fuck out right now.
Yay!
Love it.
Jessica, help me.
We started touching on at the end there, but you do get to stumble on a clue. So how about the two of you define what you're thinking about?
I like what I was thinking since I was talking about looking up friends of Charlie. I like the idea, and I come up with a cool name. I like the idea that his closest friend, Millie Somerset, an actress on his show, that they were really good friends. That she died in mysterious circumstances.
Oh, one of his co-stars died under mysterious. Ooh, I like that a lot. You agree with that, B?
Yeah. Oh my God, that's awesome.
Add that to the list. Charlie's co-star Millie Somerset died under mysterious circumstances.
Daniel came with a whole name and everything.
That's fucking rad. I love that. Fleshing it out.
Oh my God. And I do want to point out, like just as a thing that would definitely happen, because Jessica's asking about Charlie's friends. And I think Mary Jane would 100% bring up the weird little film man as like, I don't know if that counts as a friend, but this guy sure did know Charlie and seemed to be on some kind of good terms with him. That might be a good place to look too. Like to kind of point her towards whoever that little creep was.
Oh, the film guy, the
film guy, the weirdo that like processes all the film, like
I was thinking like I don't know if they're side characters. I don't know the side characters associated with this, but it mentions in the intro like maybe talk to his friends.
Yeah, I was about to say. So like, and this is one of those areas where I'm happy to prompt like some possible leads that you might be able to uncover as reporters.
Yeah.
That's Henry Mason, or not Henry Mason. Henry Blanc was his name. And I think Henry Mason's actually a Lovecraft character. Or no, Henry. Why is that name so familiar?
The Projectionist. And then Harry Mason is from Silent Hill 1.
That's why Harry Mason. Harry Mason. No, Henry Blanc is the projectionist. Harry Mason. No, sorry. Henry. Oh my God! Wait, that's right. Hold on.
Fucked up. I got you fucked up, fam.
Over on the Gemini, there is a Henry Mason and a Henry Blanc. Huh?
Too many Henrys.
Nightmare.
Henry Mason is the projectionist. That's right. And then Henry Blanc is the owner of the development lab.
The two Henrys.
Henry Mason is related to the Gemini killing because yeah. Okay, we sorted out the Henrys. So, oops, all Henrys exactly. So some possible leads on Charlie Firth. This actually segues really cleanly into what Hester's doing because you're already asking about possible connections there. In terms of like people in Charlie's life, obviously. Henry Blanc is, it was a frequent, like Charlie was Henry's most frequent customer. But also like, here's something to think about. Charlie did a lot of drugs. Like you've seen them in the film. He does a lot of coke. He did a lot of like, LSD. He did drugs. He probably got those drugs from somewhere. So he probably had a dealer. That's something you could probably find. Also, Charlie, before scandals, was an actor. What do actors have? Agents. He also, there was also his landlady. You've talked to one of his neighbors, Nick Cohn, but like his landlady was probably knew him to some degree. So these are all things that come up to you. But Charlie strikes you as a man who had very few actual like friends. But those are like things that would occur to you.
Jessica is on the outs currently with the criminal underworld,
Mhm.
and so I'm not going to go the drug dealer route. I would go the agent route.
Sure, great. You might
Love
play.
it.
You'll do some research on that front. Mary Jane, is it still your intention to go deal with bad dreams then? Go
Yep.
to St. Cuthbert's? Awesome.
I think that actually really works with what we talked about too. Like, especially
agree.
since I know Jessica's on the Charlie Firth case.
Mhm.
I assume the Gemini thing is going to be, like that's somebody else. That got so crazy. She's like, I don't know about that.
Mhm.
I don't want to get stabbed.
Totally. And now to touch on Hester's angle with the Charlie Firth stuff, because you were asking about maybe like finding one of the girls in the tapes. You do track down one of them, Hester. It is her name is Carla Borelli. So that is a woman you could try to meet with. Is that your angle? Very good. And I wanted to check in real quick with Alphonse, and you said you're going to do the whole layout thing. I wasn't sure if you had another scene or action in mind, or if you're like capped off and waiting for us to blow this thing wide open.
No, I think it's a nice little tee in to blow this thing wide open.
Cool.
Depending on how people are feeling, yeah.
Then we'll do that. Then we'll
Yes,
get
yes,
to you
yes.
last. Let's take another short, let's take a 5-minute break here and come back and resume the scenes. So, Hester, you know that one of the girls on Charlie's tapes is a young woman, Carla Borelli. Now, you've watched some of these tapes as well, so you remember her on tape. You remember that fragile hope in her eyes on camera as well. And she is beautiful. And like, it is, maybe like early to mid 20s. So Hester, you can find out more information about her. And since you mentioned wanting to like actually find one of these girls, what do you want to do with that? Like, is this a thing where you track her down, or do you like reach out to her? What do you envision going forward?
I think I reach out to her, just sort of an offer to like meet in like a public place, because like I know, like, because honestly, from the amount of women that Charlie had in his apartment, plus the fact that Charlie seems like a pretty shit person to be around, I think like he's hired these women, so like I know like it can be pretty alarming to like have like a strange man just come up upon you. So
Yeah, you find a
with
means of
questions.
contacting her, and you
Mhm.
reach out, and you want to set up like an interview. You go through the
Yeah.
whole like reporter process, right? Cool.
Yeah.
What is this public location you arranged to meet Carla at?
God, I keep on thinking about like how Jessica and Mary Jane are like, well, let's be in a coffee shop, because like I think a coffee shop is pretty a neutral
Mhm.
ground.
Is pretty neutral ground. So that's where we'll cut to. Um, you know, down the block, there is a homeless man with a cardboard sign that says, I had dreams, and then $3 signs, help me forget them. And you meet at this coffee shop. I don't have a name for it off the top of my head, but it's probably one of the most cut and paste type places you can find across the city. It's quiet and it's private, and you're now sitting across from this young actress, Carla Borelli. Even in person, off film, she is beautiful and has that same kind of glint in her eye. She strikes you as a woman who wears a summer dress regardless of the weather, and that is indeed what she's wearing now. And in your conversation with her, you'll find that she smokes like a chimney. But it seems to be more out of like an actual nervous habit. She doesn't seem to really enjoy smoking. So we just kind of cut to this meeting between the two of you. I'll let you lead the conversation with her first.
I think sort of the interview starts off with like just learning more about Carla at first before the conversation switched to Charlie, because like he is also like a quote unquote actor. Hester is trying to be very, very delicate about this situation because the last time he was less than delicate, he got a door closed on him,
Yeah.
quite literally.
She kind of taps her cigarette into an ashtray, like looks off to the side, and when you broach the subject and then glances back at you, there's this pause, and she just says, I guess you think I got what I asked for, huh? That I'm some silly little girl going up to the room of a strange man I just met. Listen, the guy said he was a producer, and I recognize his face. It ain't the first time it's happened. Probably won't be the last. And are rats,
Mm-hmm.
But I never agreed to be in no dirty movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be a legitimate actress.
That's fair. It's just more trying to figure out why he died. Because, well, if it's revenge, someone else got angry about what he did. That's one thing. But if there's something bigger going on, I have to find out.
You sound like a cop. At least the cops they have on the movies, not like real cops I've ever met.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the truth, really.
The truth. Hey, Hester.
Yeah.
I must ask you to answer me truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find yourself experiencing any lustful urges in Carla's presence?
Not really.
Okay. No, I accept your answer. I just wanted to.
Yeah, it's more or less like I have a feeling like it's a somber affair.
Sure.
Like
Totally.
of just like talking about a man who died and like this woman who thinks like probably in the back of her mind thinks like, yeah, God,
I gotta tell
these
you,
tapes are going to be released up to the public or something.
Yeah, right. I gotta tell you, it's like, despite being a fucking freak, Hester is a good man in this moment of just being like, I am not feeling lustful towards this woman. I'm not objectifying her. I'm just having this somber conversation. Good on you, Hester. You're not a complete loser or complete monster yet. But yeah, she just says, I don't know anything about any of that. I found out through the papers like everyone else.
Mm-hmm. But they still knew him. It could be in something of non-consequence, something that just struck you as odd as something Charlie said.
Let's go ahead and have you roll to investigate. I think this will be, even though it's the same number with nerves, just because this is very like calm demeanor conversation interview kind of thing, not like coercing information out of her. I'm wondering if being famous would put you at a disadvantage just on the context of something that was just now mentioned about the idea of like, oh, like, on the one hand, I'm like, the whole like the notion of what you had said of like, oh, are these tapes going to be like publicly thing? That's one thing. But also, she probably doesn't mind a bit of good press, but doesn't probably wants to be removed from this whole affair. So I think you being like kind of like a known writer is a precarious position where I'm not sure if it's giving you disadvantage in this context or not, because I could see it going either way. I think just for the sake of leaning on myself as a keeper, I will say it does give you disadvantage.
That's fair.
Not because it might make her less likely to give you information. It's just that I think there might be more ramifications that come of it. Do you have any morgue files that are relevant to this case?
No. I don't think Professor William Dyer's expeditions will help me in this matter.
Fair.
Damn, I wish it was not a disadvantage. That's a 5.
It's a 5. Okay. I will say that as Carla is like talking to you, she doesn't know anything. Like really, she hooked up with Charlie once. She found out. She is learning about the tapes as recently. That's an invasion of her privacy. Like she's learning about this. Like she didn't know she was being filmed, obviously. But she doesn't know anything more because she never spoke with Charlie again, and like that was that. She just talks about, it's very straightforward. I think that there is something that comes of this, and if this is what we roll with, I'm going to collaborate with you on this, that will have you mark the inheritance. I think that will be the complication that comes of this. And maybe a condition depending on the fiction, but I think like honestly, it's like the hardest reaction I think I want to give right now is the subtlety of having you mark inheritance. I think that's the one that applies most aptly to this scene because nothing like super high stakes might come of it here. Because Carla Borelli doesn't strike me as someone to lose her shit on you. So that'll be the consequence is that you're gonna mark the inheritance. Do you pay the price or you want to roll with that?
I think I will pay the price.
All right. Which one are you gonna pay?
The price of the job.
Okay. Did you want to narrate that now or hold off?
I think if you do come back to me, I will have it. So
Sure. I'll step away from you for a moment then. Then in that case, you reflect on your own paranoia that you would have a dead end, and that is not what we see happening instead. But we'll come back to you. I'll let you think about that. Let's see. Jessica, though, you find information pretty easily. Back before his scandals, Charlie was represented by an agent in New York City named Sue Goldsmith. Now, you could call her quite easily, and that's the most likely case, unless you're trying to travel all the way to New York and arrange to meet her in person. But you are, as I look at your conditions, behind schedule. So I can't imagine a trip, down to New York is in your card. So you can easily set up a phone call with her.
I think that's what she would do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking, how could I fly out there? And then I thought, no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we find you on the phone with Sue Goldsmith, though you don't see her on the other end of the line. We, the viewer, can see that she is an elderly woman with an updo. And she has like the thick skin and personality of a crocodile. That is very much evident. And we had this conversation. She says, Firth. Oh, the in your dreams guy.
Yes.
Yeah, haven't looked after him for 5 years now. More trouble than he was worth. What's he got himself into now? He owe you money?
No, he's dead.
Dead. That figures. He was always going that way.
Why
Probably
did you
less
say
trouble
that?
for
Wait a
everyone
minute.
all
Why did you say
around.
that? Why did you say that it was always going that way?
Hmm?
Why did you say that?
Oh, that's the world I live in, sweetie. Actors come and go. They either die or their career does. C'est la vie. He was always, going that way. Probably less trouble for everyone all around, that being the case. And not the most extreme situation in my line of work. How'd he die?
Bludgeoned to death with some ancient club or something of that, something like that.
Mm,
In his apartment, it was messy.
yeah.
There
Well,
was a lot
right.
of
So,
porn.
like I said, I haven't represented him for 5 years now. What does this have to do with me?
Well, I'm with the Arkham Herald, and we're trying to put together a story about him, and uh, we're finding that he did not have many friends, and so
No, 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 no. It was popular for a while, but honestly, I don't think Charlie ever had any real friends. Just people who sort of hovered around him. He had a terrible, terrible cocaine addiction, and that sort of thing buys you a lot of company in the right circles or the
I
wrong
see.
circles.
Why did you two part ways?
Oh, oh, let me take a look at something real quick. Well, I kept representing him after production moved to Arkham, but once those scandals broke out, I had to cut him loose as a client. Like I said, much more trouble than he was worth, and
One
it
of the
wasn't worth a lot at that moment.
one of the producers of In Your Dreams. I'm not gonna name any names. I'm not one to kiss and tell, as they say.
Mhm.
But one of his producers tried to feed me this crazy story about this was years ago about In Your Dreams. Um, when I happened to like catch him with a woman who was not his wife in a very swanky cocktail bar here in Arkham. And when I told him I wasn't buying it, he told me that he might have another story for me. And but my deadline was too soon, and I did not go up with him to his room. Um, but that's what he was implying. So it seems like the In Your Dream family, it doesn't seem too healthy.
Well, it seemed like a real gold mine at the time, really beloved by audiences. I mean, I certainly got my cut, and Charlie was happy for a time. And well, television is a saturated market where one opportunity fails, others surely arrive. So I'm not entirely too broken up about it, though that's just the line of work we're in, really. I've had my fair share of cocktail meetings, if you take my meaning.
This is where I'm gonna make
Mhm.
this is where I'm gonna make a investigation roll.
I was about to say, yeah, this is where we
This
could
is where
plunk that.
this is my question is
Mm.
um the people that hovered around him with his addiction, um were they odd?
Mm. Yeah, you can investigate with Audacity.
Um, am I at a disadvantage for?
No,
Okay.
you're having a phone call. That's honestly not the worst thing to be when you're behind schedule.
I've got a 6. It seems like I always roll a 6, but she's got +2, so that puts me at 8.
Mm. 8. Clue with a complication. Let me take a look here. Take a look at my clue list.
I can hear them in my walls.
I was literally looking at a clue about rats in the walls as you said that. That freaked me the fuck out, man. That was incredible.
Mine's the maintenance people.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
As
Yeah.
far as you know.
Indeed. Let's see. The type of people he hung around with. I'm finding a clue for this one. um she tells you, I'll sort of summarize this because I could ramble as Sue for a while. That he got involved at one point with like some writers, like in the city. And that inspired him to try his hand at making a screenplay. Um, and that resulted in that Sue read. And she tells me, like, oh, yeah, Charlie wrote this absolute dog shit film called The Shape of Darkness. It was this rambling, drug fueled, surrealist softcore porno, badly masquerading as an art house flick.
Look, we all got one of those, all right? Everybody's got one of those
I'll
in their
copy and
fucking
paste that into the chat.
repertoire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I think
Yeah.
Jessica thanks her for her time, and
Now, for your complication, I think I'm just going to give you the condition. Thank you for your time. I don't necessarily know what that means, but I think it sounds good as a condition, and might apply in a certain circumstance. There's a brusqueness there. Yeah, you can wrap the scene.
I think it would just be her saying thank you and thank you for your time. And
Yeah, how do you feel?
I think Jessica's just like she's just on the case. She's
just on the case. Yeah,
she's just like, I'll put this with the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Love it. Mary Jane, you said you wanted to poke around this St. Cuthbert's Heart business. Let's talk about that.
Someone's
What
gotta.
does that involve?
I think like straight up she's just going there. And I think she's going to like pretend she's visiting someone who is like in a coma. They're her friend. But like I established, Mary Jane thinks it's on cross ley lines, like this whole place. And so she's trying to get a vibe and trying to figure out what's going on, but she's gonna pretend she's
Sure.
visiting somebody.
Yeah, like you arrive at the hospital at St. Cuthbert's Heart, and there are these two nurses having a hushed conversation during their smoke break, though as you're walking by, they start loudly talking about a soap opera instead. And just seem to play it nonchalantly, but you're entering, you're trying to present yourself as a family member, a visitor or something like that. You make yourself known at like the desk in the reception, trying to get things sorted out as a guest. Let me take a look at my list here for a second.
And if she could have gotten like patients' names at all, like from digging,
Sure,
like if
probably.
that's something that like because that'd be the only way she could actually do this is if she had a person's name and not just be like, they were like they had blonde hair. No, that like will not fucking fly.
Go ahead and we're gonna risk your reputation with
Yeah.
audacity.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have disadvantage because I don't think Detective Rumlal is around this area. So,
all right. Ooh, that is a 9.
oh, okay. 9 total. Then, you do, get in, you have a name, you guess things. I'm gonna say that, you like your conversation is interrupted by another nurse in like magenta scrubs with like a little like remnants of like vomit on them. Like she hasn't like changed her out of her scrubs yet. Her hair is like done up in a tight bun. You notice that she has this little tan line where a wedding ring used to be. And she like walks and begins talking with the people at reception. This immediately strikes you as like, oh, this is the head nurse. And who's like moving about and kind of intercedes in the conversation. She shows up and like looks at you and finds that you're a visitor and sees like your name tag that you've been getting to write, a little visitor clip on badge. Looks you up and down, and she says, "You're here to visit Charles." Actually, I'm not going to say Charles. I'm going to say Avery. We'll say Avery.
There we go.
There we go. I was like, we don't need similar names. What are you? Are you family? You're your friend. Oh, okay.
We're really good friends.
Here, hold this for me. She just passes like a clipboard.
Okay.
And then Jake leans over, and like you
look at the
like,
Caroline. Clipboard.
It's just like highlighted like room visitation like nonsense. It's floor work. It doesn't mean anything to you.
I was like, this is nothing.
She says like, Caroline, they need you over in the ICU. Yes, I'm also meant to be taking my break, but do you see me taking it? So go now. Yes, Jesus. Sorry, honey. So you're visiting Avery. Let me escort you.
Thank you.
And this is your complication is that this head nurse, you see her little badge. Her name is Melissa Ortega. Yeah, she's kind of in the scene with you now, interceding.
All right,
and
that's
you get escorted. And takes you to the coma ward, which is really just the hospital's repurposed chapel. There are 15 coma patients packed into a space large enough for 10. And there are these tall arch windows that let in ample light. Let's add
This
some.
is crazy.
Yeah, let's add some color. St. Cuthbert doesn't technically have a dedicated coma ward, but the sudden swell of patients necessitated this room's conversion. What aspects of its previous use are at odds with the current situation?
I'm going to say that the light coming in through the stained glass windows of the chapel, like make it hard for people to read charts, and because the light that comes through is multicolored, and it's just distracting.
The tile pattern of the floor is easy to get lost in if you stare at it at the right angle. So you always have like this urge to keep your head up when you're walking in here and not looking down, always keeping your head up.
I think because it's a chapel, there's this echo. It's very acoustically sound for choirs, not for nurses trying to speak softly. And it always kind of sounds like there's an extra person in the room.
I don't really have anything to add.
Cool. So, Mary Jane, you're in the scene. What do you do?
Well, I wasn't expecting a nurse, so she's shifting gears.
Mm-hmm.
So, Miss Ortega, how how long has Avery been out for real? Like, have they woken up or anything at all?
Go ahead and roll investigate with audacity. I'm no. Yeah, I think just roll flat.
Okay. I won't argue with that. It's
No.
a 9 again.
Okay.
Different combo on the dice, but it's still a 9.
I love it. Let me take a look at my list of clues. She says, she's giving you like the spiel,
Yeah.
and it doesn't involve anything about like waking up or anything like that. You can see that this woman is very like it's an understaffed hospital, and even this managerial woman is clearly on the floor, and just kind of going around assisting. She's telling you like, no, like, none of them have like gotten up. None of them have like, no one's woken up. Now you notice something during this conversation, that stands in contrast, to what she's saying, which is you clock one of the coma patients in this room, not Avery, whoever that is, but you just one of them, their bare feet that are, they have dirt on them, like as if they had been walking around outside. Like you clock that as an oddity, just like their feet have dirt on them, and like you spot that on like one of the patients in here as Nurse Ortega is talking to you about like, oh yeah, it's like, no, hasn't woken up, and just kind of going through the spiel. At that moment, a coma patient like lurches up across the room, fully sitting up, screaming out loud. And it takes you a moment for you to realize that she's screaming in like German, as like some of the nurses, Nurse Ortega included, like rush to her aid, but the woman like spasms, falls back, and then quickly flatlines as quickly as she woke up. And that kind of, there's just like, you just said that, the already like chorus of heartbeat monitors in here, now the added like flatline drone, lends chaos to it. Now, one of the things is you can't help but notice, that this coma patient, it was a woman of You just the briefest glance at the medical chart without any
Mhm.
details could
Oh
tell
yeah,
you.
she gets up in the grill.
Could
She's
tell
not
you
like
this
staying
woman
away.
does not seem a likely candidate to speak German. Like she does not seem like someone who would speak German like as a default.
Huh.
Which you can, whatever that just means of her identity, I'll leave up to your
Mhm.
imagination. But Melissa Ortega is just like she's like I'm sorry, you got to go. Like it's like,
Okay,
immediately
I'm
like
so
kicking you
sorry.
out.
Yeah.
Just as like sort of like they got to deal with the situation and you're
Yeah.
getting ushered out and
Yeah.
left
Bye.
to your own devices.
Oh my God.
And I think just that is your complication is like
Yeah.
effectively and like
Gone. Bye.
severs your investigation off and you like
Yep.
yeah.
I got some stuff. It's fine.
So we'll cut away from that. And Hester, I'll come back to you because I owe you a clue because you also decided you want to do your price prompt. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I think just sort of as a sort of segue, I think Hester is just to make this woman more comfortable, just starts to like talking about himself as just like a sort of thing of like, yeah, I know it's these sort of interviews it can be really nerve-wracking, but I find it's helpful to like that you actually get to know me as well. Have I've been in Arkham my whole life. I had a very big family here, but nowadays it's just me here. And I think we sort of cut the mid scene to the shunned house with the paintings that don't really have people most days. Uh, one of the paintings starts to actually reveal itself because, well, as Hester is talking about his family, and by contrast, like it does, he does say the truth that he does have a lot of family and that they were just really normal. They aren't normal because there is this family portrait about a dozen or so individuals, various ages, similarly dressed to one another in black robes. And the youngest one being held at the center of it is, well, Hester Velakis. A waxen cylinder begins playing. Recording has begun. Time of birth was June 3rd, 1938 at 11:13 p.m. The birth proceeded well. Various signs came with the child, waxen vim that seeks to strangle, birthmark that shows the serpent consuming the world that climbs up the right leg, incredible strength. Bit the finger off of the attending midwife. We Valakas are so proud that the lineage has produced the perfect scion. That's where we're going to end the price.
Incredible. All right, good to know. Well, that'll bump it up to a 7. So you will get a clue with a complication. Take a look here. I think Carla will tell you, she'll actually admit that she wasn't telling the truth. That actually she did. Well, that night at his apartment wasn't the only time she'd interacted with Charlie. She did call him afterwards, like in the ensuing like weeks, and uh called him because again, as a reminder, like the timeline here, the the Herald had one of the films mailed anonymously to its offices, and it was originally going to be like, oh, this porno scandal thing, but then he was found murdered. So it's like that, so the tapes reached the newspaper offices before the actual murder happened. And Carla somehow, and I'll leave this up to any potential theorizing, like found out about the tapes sooner than she had previously stated, and actually called Charlie. This would be prior to his murder. And basically, she remembers, white hot with rage, just chewing him out, and told him, I hope you chew your fucking wrists open, asshole. Like she just remembers getting that into a fight with him over the phone, like screaming at him and saying that spitefully, and she reveals that to you. And Carla is gonna resume smoking, but she doesn't want that kind of thing, hanging over her head. How do you feel right now, Hester?
I think about the case feeling pretty good, but like as a general matter, like a bit sad about like how he used to have like this really big family, but nowadays doesn't.
Take a condition reflecting this. We'll call it an empty house. And that'll wrap your scene. And this segues very cleanly into moving into the rot. As part of this, though, I know that we wanted to queue up blowing this thing wide open for possibly more than one thing. So we'll talk about that here. I'll formally move us into the rot, though. All right. So, first things first, let me double check something. I want to make sure I get this right. Yep. So we may attempt to blow this thing wide open if you'd like to. Anyone? You have 12 clues on the Gemini and 9 clues on the 2 cancellations of Charlie Firth. So you could easily crack open that threshold question. But I mean, the focus of this was Alphonse getting some of the Gemini notes like lined up and thought. So why don't we start with the Gemini now that you are able to actually revisit this story now that you've gotten a clue. Wes, did you have any initial thoughts you wanted to begin throwing out there for this since it was your frame, or did you defer to the group on this?
Yeah, we came at this at a very like on the ground level reporter experience where it's like, yeah, it has to do with like child abuse and child abductions and everything like that. Very surface level. We weren't looking at the keys. We weren't looking at the details. We were looking at the big picture. And so stack of files, newspaper articles, all of those things have all been placed in a nucleoid style thought process, like visual thought process. Putting things in rows or putting things in concentric shapes is actually antithetical to the human thought process because we do not think in geometric ways. We are very nebulous with a thought process. So he has started a line theory where there is a center point, the nucleus, which is where it's like the very center of the apartment, and there are strings coming out from that point, going to different rooms, and then those strings have different like people, like the different like victims and their connections and everything like that. So what I'm thinking is it's about the door. It starts with the door. A man rambles about passing through the door. there is a door that the Gemini killer's trying to open. How did he learn about that door? Because there is a film reel containing a lost film from the 1920s that showed a sacrifice bringing forth a tentacle monster from a door. So, the Gemini killer disguised himself as a student to hop into the campus and attempt to break into the restriction section of the library. Those were some books that were stolen about cryptography and zodiac stuff.
The books were stolen from
Oh,
McCarthy's
yeah.
bookstore, but those two can easily connect.
That's the thing. That's the thing. He tried to attempt it from the restriction section, wasn't
he couldn't
able to
find
do
it.
it, so went to the bookstore and everything like that. The book on Charles' desk, thoroughly annotated with notes on the Gemini cipher, will come into play later. But essentially, what these books about cryptography and zodiac stuff is essentially what you're trying to do with a cipher. Is you're trying to, like it's been established, make a key. He's trying to make keys. He's trying to build a door and then draw keys from his victims to be able to open that door. He just needs multiple keys because the lock has multiple locks within it.
Like
So that was
Alphonse's door.
like Alphonse's door,
Yeah.
exactly. So in order to open that, he had to start drawing out little ciphers, the Gemini cipher. It didn't start with like the murder like ciphers that were going out to the newspaper and everything like that. It was going to the victims directly. He was sending it to random people that he thought would be integral for building the frames of the door and
Would be
drawing the
key.
keys. That would be the
Mhm.
key. Those people solved them. We have not
explaining
to be bad.
the book on the cipher, and then Amelia
Mhm.
painting silver keys, like she
Mhm.
Amelia painting silver keys.
Mhm.
Oh,
So it makes sense that Dr.
Mhm.
Conan Hall was the head librarian at Miskatonic University who was attacked with a student in his office. The latter survived. The student wasn't a key. Dr. Conan Hall was a key because Dr. Conan Hall solved a cipher for the Gemini killer. Charles
Mhm.
McCarthy, the back alley of the cinema, and everything like that. That was the bookshop owner. He had been tracking him essentially. That was kind of like the T end. That was the first introductory, like where he like kind of like learned everything from. That was his first experience, his first taste. He's getting more refined and he's growing. Most recent, Amelia Rodriguez was an up and coming artist. This was an attempt to see if it was somebody other than scholars, if maybe cultural artists would be better. Because he had such a bad time at the university, he needed to focus on more isolated victims, isolated people. So who's more isolated than artists sometimes, especially when you're just like, you're living the old meatpacking district.
Mhm.
That sort of thing. Okay, moving on. Uh,
This.
I'm gonna interrupt you for a second.
yeah.
Because I'm just going to use a reaction right now.
Mhm.
Because you teed this up very cleanly for me. Talking about like, oh yeah, the artist solved it, and then this is like a tangential thing that maybe that you maybe do some research on, because back in like the spring of 1925, there was actually like a significant art movement that probably like formed like the basis of your some of your theories here, or maybe relevant to the case. Who knows? But there was a art movement, and that basically surrounded like this series of like earthquakes that happened in the South Pacific. Like following tsunamis, there was this like widespread epidemic of like suicides and nightmares concerning similar themes. A lot of artists and poets began forming their own interpretations of these events. And though unconnected and largely attributed to a particularly eerie instance of the zeitgeist, some have labeled this collection of works the Relia movement, after a word coined in one of its key works, an epic poem called The Sunken City. And art historians consider the movement to be an offshoot and intermingling of Cubism and Surrealism. This is not at all related to the Gemini, perhaps, but it's context of like, oh, similar art movements leaning into your themes here. Interesting. I'm sure that has no relevance to anything else going on in Arkham.
No, definitely not.
Continue.
And then my last little thing that I want to tie into, because I want to keep Dr. Conan Hall did jail time for child abduction as a potential morgue file for
Yeah.
somebody to take because it would be
That's so
good to leverage
good.
against the university down the line.
Oh
And
my
then
God.
also, I want to leave in Babylonian astronomy, the stars Pollux and Castor
Mm.
were known as the Great Twins. Their names were Lugal Ira and Meslamta Ea. Yeah, Meslamta Ea, meaning the mighty king and the one who has arisen from the underworld. I feel like we could tie that into something down the line as a morgue file.
Oh
It's
yeah.
pretty interesting. But all the victims are also victims of child abuse and or neglect because the Gemini killer themselves was a victim of child abuse and neglect. And that's one of the things of like just you can tie it into like the key maker as a role or something like that. Is
Well,
that
is it
like
also the thing about like the only people who were able to crack the cipher were in some way abused,
yes,
broken
yeah,
people? Like that.
yeah.
There's something about like the mark that leaves on your very psyche and soul that allows you to
To make a key, you
understand
have
to
to
make a
be able
key.
to carve away from metal and chip away at it to make it something useful and everything like that. And
It's
so it's probably
very
a backwards
Lovecraft.
ass thought process of
Oh.
only broken people can be formed into
And
keys.
where was the
Hmm.
relevance of that new victim who showed up with their eyes gouged out?
Oh, a new victim showed up with their eyes gouged out. Um, we could probably utilize that as
Looking for keys.
Hmm. He's getting
uh
desperate.
Yeah, he's getting keys.
yeah, I think after Amelia and everything like that, probably with more, yeah, absolutely, with more heat on the case and
He's
there
getting
being
Mm.
more eyes on it and everything like that, it was a tantrum, but it was also a desperate attempt to find more
Oh,
keys
sure,
from
sure, sure, sure.
somebody.
the same kind of
Yeah,
tantrum that like carving that into Alphonse was. This
was a
was like,
tantrum.
yeah, this
What
was like,
if
I'm pissed.
Yeah.
what if let me double check something real quick. Let me check our safety tab. Um
Love it when you have to do that.
what if the new victim, because we never said who the new victim was, we just said that there was a new victim. What if the new victim was that like teenage kid Mary Jane talked to, the one who
Oh,
was graffitiing the
oh,
Gemini cipher on the
Mm.
wall,
yes.
and the Gemini was like, "You are not worthy to look upon my work," and like stabbed his fucking eyes
Mm.
out.
Oh my
Like
God, yes. That's so crazy. I
that would
love
explain like the
it.
manicness of it being like the unworthy, like in the cipher and all that.
Hmm.
That's
That's so
fucking
good.
that's cool.
That's
That's
cool.
so that incorporates 10 clues, I believe.
Hmm.
Um
On a 9
and
or an
no
8,
10.
sorry, on an 8
Yeah, and because you're angling
difficulty.
for the Gemini's great and glorious purpose. So I will say, sick fucking theory. Daniel, chaotic. B, any additional thoughts here, different takes, or anything else you want to add?
No, that whipped.
All right. It sounds like we're
And
all in
and
agreement
I,
then.
and I think once we get to the end of that scene of like papers being pinned and like
Mm-hmm.
it all comes back to the center and it just looks like everything like all the yarn coming off of it and everything. There was just like a little like a very simple like chair back. And for a moment when Alphonse like walks back into the room, looks at the chair, and it almost looks like a door, just like with the carving of the back and everything like that,
Mm-hmm.
and all the red like lines around the frame and everything like that, with stuff coming off of it.
That's sick.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fucking sick.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
I'm thoroughly convinced that is quite rad. And we are answering that 8. Yeah, their great and glorious purpose. Um, I mean, Wes, you can
You
roll with a +2 to it.
you have to roll, Wes. This is
Yeah.
this is all you.
We also have a price associated with
You
it as
do.
well.
Yes, and I'm so willing to mark it for this one. This is so cool.
Kevin Mack, thank you for your bullet dice. With a +2?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It's a 5 and a 3 plus 2 is 10.
10.
Yeah.
It's correct. If you wanted to pay the price of passage, you could make it a 12 plus, which makes it a conspiracy clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
mean,
yes, yes, yes,
yeah.
yes. Yes, yes, yes.
So
Yes.
your answer is correct. You can now resolve the story by cracking the Gemini cipher, which I feel like is exactly what Alphonse is doing in his apartment, and
Absolutely.
understanding it. And you may now directly sabotage their plans.
Oh my God.
Cocksucker.
For
And
Roy.
poor,
Yes,
yeah,
it's
do it
for
for
Roy.
Did we
Yeah,
also go
I
ahead.
think that it would also end of like kind of pinning out and figuring out the cipher is using like one of Roy's pins from like making
Oh,
cartoons and stuff like that, and then just
Oh,
like
that's
puts the
so
cap
good.
on it as it looks at the cipher, and then just like sets it in like a on a shelf.
oh, I love this. That's so
Uh
good.
12 plus. So I'll mark the clue down. So everyone knows the price of passage. Each reporter recalls a time when they felt as if they were standing at the threshold of something bigger than themselves. Think on that. I'm gonna just make a note here. Answer. I'll make an actual better note there. So that's our fifth conspiracy clue. Nice. Um, damn, that rips, dude.
That's so cool.
Did anyone want to tackle answering the threshold question of Charlie Firth?
I
Oh,
have
B has some
I
thoughts.
have thoughts. I have
Please.
thoughts.
So the question is to determine whether Charlie was killed in revenge or if he caught something on film and was killed to keep it secret.
So I think he caught something on film and was killed to keep it secret because we have so much weird shit going on. Specifically, the first one was Charlie's victim panicking during sex because it was, and there was like an invisible force that they were seeing. This is not an unusual thing, I imagine, in the tapes. Charlie saying the repeated phrase in the film, "The eye now sees you." I saw someone just
One thing
linked to that.
I'll
Yes,
pause you really quick just to say,
yes,
because I love what you're saying. Just this might influence your
yes.
explanations.
Tell
If
me
you
now.
go the route of he was killed to keep something secret because he killed something on camera, if that's correct, the next question that is unlocked is what did he catch on camera? So you
Oh,
can
you know what? Yeah, I'll
so
say
some of
that's
these clues are very like the thrashing
that's a
woman.
good
Great.
thought.
There are definitely some clues I could see being like you don't need to explain what he caught on camera just because that comes next. So you
Okay,
can.
fabulous.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think so we need how many? How many? Four? Okay, so
It's
definitely
four,
that.
Lexi four.
So definitely the Charlie's victim starts panicking. I think the absolute dog shit screenplay might be good for this or the next question because I think this is him trying to explain what he's caught. Um, I think that's, he's
Oh,
trying to explain it because, Charlie's apartment's larger than it should be. It's very like mind-boggling, and Charlie clearly was not equipped to handle what he saw on camera. And so
he
this was
started
him trying
writing it
to,
as an excuse to like try and explain what he was experiencing.
yes,
Mhm.
yes. This was
Interesting.
his like desperate attempt to make sense of it or spread the influence. Maybe it's a grudge type thing. Maybe it's the ring, you
Interesting.
know.
Okay.
Um, I mean, I think the very tall man.
I mean,
Can we?
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I would hold off on the very tall man.
You're right for the next one. You're right.
Yeah,
Um,
I think like we need to like explain like how do we know he was murdered because of this?
yeah.
I think it like I think someone was like leaking this information
Hmm. The
about
tapes.
the tapes to people
Which would explain the
before,
Carla clue.
Millie.
yeah, Carla Clue,
Yeah, with Millie
as
too.
as well as just like probably like actually killing other people
Hmm.
associated with the
Oh,
tapes.
Yeah, like with
oh,
Millie.
like
So
Millie. Oh, Millie
yeah,
Somerset, like his co-star from In Your Dreams, who died under mysterious circumstances. That clue's
yeah,
relevant here.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
like so you're just using these as like a foundation of being like there is something happening and he
Yes.
caught something. So it's like this is not just a revenge killing. This is happening like because he found something and someone killed him about it. So like
Yes.
yeah, Charlie Firth, a victimizer, terrible person. He wasn't killed by in revenge. He was killed because he
Yeah.
knew something that he shouldn't.
Maybe he showed the thing to Millie.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
Millie
And so
maybe that's
and
like
so
some like television interview from like Millie
Hmm.
from a few years ago where there was like an offhand comment about how like oh like he's like like fucking Johnny Carson or whatever just being like yeah tell me about your co-star and he'd be like oh Charlie's a sweetheart he has like some weird hobbies something like that there's like
Uh-huh.
subtle
That
references where you
she
can be like
accidentally referenced it and
yeah sorry
then she
continue
turned
chaotic
up
yeah
dead.
yeah, yeah. So like I think it's just like again, like this sort of idea of just trying to influence people to try to like be mindful of Charlie, of like getting Charlie in the consciousness of this is a problem. Because like in your dreams, kind of fall off. I'm not gonna lie. Like people know about it, but people aren't really thinking about it. So it's like very unusual that like people still nowadays are like humming like the theme song. So like there is like this sort of subliminal messaging that Charlie is a problem and that you should
Interesting.
remember in your dreams. So
Like they're like somebody's warning
yeah,
them to not do
trust
what he
Charlie.
did, or it's
Yeah,
like mimetic.
mimetic
It's
like
more, yeah, it's like a mimetic thing, maybe like SCP style. Like,
How is that
yeah.
relevant to like knowing that he
Uh,
caught something on camera?
I think that
I
might
think
be a second
I'm
thing.
I like this is sort of
Mhm.
less proof of like him getting caught on
Oh, just
camera,
getting
but
proof of him
the
stumbling into something.
stumbling into something in proof that it wasn't out of revenge, even though
Yeah.
like it
Yeah.
seems like it, like of like oh yeah, like people know about like the film and like they killed him out of revenge. No, that's not the motivation. Like this is just trying to like influence a mass of people to just go after Charlie.
Daniel West, any thoughts here?
That sounds pretty silent to me. Yeah, that sounds like
I like it because it sets up the next one.
yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Okay, so we used 5 clues, which is not bad.
Yeah.
Did we want to utilize any more to further stack the deck in your favor?
Let's see.
Because I could see a couple more that are
Mhm.
useful to this answer or
Me
could
too.
be used later.
Because we're gonna
like-
get more.
Yeah, you're gonna
Yeah.
get more easily. Yeah.
Yeah, currently we're at +1, so
Mhm.
I mean, the several sandwich bags of some unidentified yellow powder could be utilized to like as like drugging people.
Oh, because I see the vision because this is the only time he catches this thing on camera is during these particular filming sessions.
Mhm.
Oh.
Mhm.
And maybe
So,
he's
like-
also doing it, and maybe it's like this like almost ritualistic thing he's trying to do.
Like it was a drug that he was specifically reserving for like these instances. Like, is a drug he was taking or like giving to people?
Maybe.
Because again, let's be very clear about something. Every act Charlie did in the bedroom was consensual.
Oh, totally.
It's just the filming wasn't. So I don't think him drugging anyone.
No.
No.
No,
Like
like,
offering it as like a both
offering
of them
it.
taking
Yes.
Yeah.
it. Like it's
I-
like
I-
the way you do party drugs.
Mhm.
I think it was a thing that he discovered himself
Yeah.
first and then started offering it to others.
I mean,
That brings a little It Follows
yeah.
ishness
Mhm.
to
I'm
it
into
as
it.
well.
So that there was some sort of like, we have an unidentified drug that he was apparently utilizing
Mhm.
in the
Get
bedroom.
closer to this like presence. Like that's like the energy that he's bringing with this. Like it's to break down the barriers of reality or whatever the fuck.
Something to that effect. He was definitely drugged out of his fucking mind, though.
He was doing something.
and again,
Okay, pop off slut.
yeah, pop off slut. All right. That's plus what, +2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hell yeah.
I don't think I'm sold.
Sick.
Who wants to tackle the role there? B, I mean, you started proposing it, so why don't you
All
tackle
right.
it?
I'll tackle it. I'll tackle it. Oh, I'm gonna pull a Vin. Big money, no whammies.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. Okay. That's a 9.
Total?
Total. 9 total.
Okay.
I got a 7. I just like squeaked under there. That +2 was good.
9. I'll make note. 9. I will need to add in unwelcome complication.
We love a complication.
What is an unwelcome detail to this theory? Kill to keep it secret. I have. Go ahead.
Oh.
Hester and Mary Jane have seen the tapes.
True. The thing that I'm thinking about is, oh, yeah.
I see what you're getting at,
I was thinking
Chaotic.
that I was worried in part like that borders talking about what was captured on camera, but not really. I think Yeah, I think anyone so wait, who has for sure seen the tapes? Tester and only Mary Jane?
Yeah, because
Everyone's seen
Alphonse
the
missed
tapes.
our movie night because he
Yeah.
was getting almost murdered like a jerk.
Well, now here's the thing though, right? Everyone saw tape. Only two of you saw it in game, but the introduction of this mystery makes it very clear, like,
Oh my God,
like
yeah, we all watched one.
everyone would have seen the fucking
Oh,
the first Charlie tape before the
that's
murder
even
happened.
better.
So I think
Yes.
all three of you need to take the condition infected.
For all four of us.
All four, sorry, all three, yeah, all four of you need to take the condition infected by the tapes. I don't necessarily know what that means, but I think it's just representative of the fact that you all have seen the tapes and there's something on camera that has touched you all. Now, I am opening the possibility that what Mary Jane has been experiencing and what's on the tapes, two separate things. Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be one-to-one. There is the strong implication that they might be related. That doesn't need to be the case. So for now, we're just going to say that is the unwelcome complication. You have seen the tapes, and thus you yourselves are inflicted. I think this counts. I think this has to count as a mythos condition.
Oh my God, yeah, because it won't go away until we solve the case.
Or until it's ignored otherwise, so it's like in some way. But I do think that it's like,
we're back.
I think this has to count as a mythos condition, technically. It might actually just be that I'll think on whether or not it's one that can be removed normally or not, but it could very well just be like, you need to resolve the case before it can go away, because you've all seen something, even if you don't know it, you've been infected. This is 100% full ripoff of, what is it, Sinister? Is that the movie?
This is
full ripping off Sinister right now.
Hell yeah, we are.
I fuck with Sinister.
I
think that shit's great.
Serial numbers.
9.
It's got a great soundtrack.
Right? Oh my God. Ugh. I have it on my writing playlist.
I put that shit on when I'm writing for public access.
Oh, hell yes.
Hell yeah. Okay. Solid answers, y'all. We have blown this thing wide open. You have opened up the next line of investigation, which, because Charlie was killed to keep a secret, what did Charlie catch on camera? That is complexity 4. And when it is answered, you will resolve the story by luring the murderer into a sting using the secret as bait. Because here's the thing, there's a human culprit here. And it's just, he was killed to keep something secret. Whether or not there's anything supernatural about it, well, that's secondary. Okay. Now, moving through the rest of the rot. Will you all be staying on the case or working the city desk?
We gotta resolve the Gemini.
We gotta resolve.
We gotta fit. I'm so tired of this man. We gotta get rid of him.
We can do city desk next time.
Sure. Yeah, once we deal with this.
Yeah. All right, they'll be staying on the case. Do we have any playbook moves that fire off during the rot?
1 second.
I don't believe so.
The collector might.
Easy, baby, easy.
I don't think Herald Pickman is one. No,
once per story, I can call an emergency.
Yeah, so no rot related prompts, it seems like. All right. Does anyone wish to narrate the price of passage that they owe, or would anyone like to hold off until next time?
I got you.
Go for it.
I got it. Let's go. Let's do it.
Darkness. Spotlight. On a wall in the upstairs apartment where the collection is kept. It's a picture in a frame. You hear the clicking of shoes against hardwood floor. Alphonse comes off from the left of the frame. Hello. Welcome back. I see you were taking a gander at some of my photography. Come closer. Camera moves closer. You can see it wholly in the frame now. There is a photo of Alphonse Neagley and 3 other people on a hiking trip in the north of Finland, a barren tundra that has a mountain range towards the north that leads into a canyon leading to the Arctic. This was some time ago. I had already started building my collection, you see. I had amassed a certain amount of money, and I believed that it was high time that I treated myself. A little extracurricular vacationing to a area that is far, far removed from most of the archaeological digs you'll find for relics. North of Finland, the northern Finland. It's a terrifying place. The happiest country in the world has a very dark history lurking behind the pines and within the snowy capped mountains of the north. My 3 compatriots here, they wanted to take this photo to commemorate our trip. Backpackers from England that traveled with me. Our guide is the one taking the photo. His name is Villic, or was rather. This was the last time that either of these people, any of them, were seen alive. You can see just in the background here, a crag opening. That was the slit to my destiny. And we penetrated its icy womb with ecstatic longing for adventure. That's where I saw it first. Immense. Expansive. Something that needed to be filled. This is just a placeholder. A part of a larger exhibit. A piece. But for now, a representation. Come. Let me show you to some more hands-on items. And then
Okay, Jessica's. She's in a conference room, and there's a lot of people, and she's sitting very closely to the Vice President of the United States, Spiro Agnew. And she's interviewing him for old friends of Arkham, and they're laughing, and and you know they're doing that uh maneuver to touch each other, where she's touching his leg and he touches her shoulder while they're talking, and she's just doing the Jessica thing, working the story. And this man in black, a black suit with a black tie and sunglasses and a fedora comes in and whispers to the vice president and hands him a folder. And the vice president just keeps talking like normal. And Jessica assumes this happens all the time with Secret Service or whatever. But her eye catches on the folder. It says the Watergate Hotel, Washington, D.C.
Back to that empty house once again. Instead of one of the paintings, there is a blank page that has been sort of has one of the little fruit magnets that has been sort of pinned to the fridge. The image starts to reveal itself. It is a child's drawing, sort of looking like a happy little scene of a child that looks like playing in the front yard of the house with a big tree that has full of leaves and whatnot. And they're holding hands with something much taller than them. It does not have a face. It does not even like, oh, just like a scribble that's solidly colored, but rather a circle and rather just a very tall suit. I think we cut back to when Hester was about 5 years old, and it is summertime. The cicadas are out in the yard, sort of one of the few beacons of natural life within Arkham still. And it's coming in, just telling about his day of fun with his to his parents and whatnot, and just saying, "Yes, I made a new friend," and just describe this sort of elongated figure, just like it wasn't an adult. He was just so tall, just in just he's just new. He's about as old as I am, and just like, and his parents are like, "Oh, that's wonderful, sweetie. You're gonna make a lot of special friends like this, and well, some people don't understand that." He's like, "What do you mean? You like my special friends?" And it's just like, "I know, sweetie. But however, this is important work in making these special friends. You have a very important role in all this because, well, not everyone can see your special friends like you can." He's like, and I think this is the first moment that Hester realizes that he's meant to be for something more. And this is a great deal of pressure to put on a child.
That's crazy. Um, so we have there's a dark room, and there's just that same singular light from the first time we've seen this memory. And it's on Mary Jane and an empty table with two untouched coffees, and we only see her facing someone. We still don't see who she's talking to, but now we know it's an interrogation room. And she sighs really big, like she just got asked to do like a chore. She's so done. She's like, "Ugh,
I don't know why you don't listen to me about this. Richie was a good guy, okay? No one just, no one understood him. You didn't see it. You didn't see it like it was. If you would have seen it like it was, you would have understood, okay? Just trust me. I, when I first got to the ranch, it was like, you know how they describe heaven in church? It was like that. And it was beautiful. And I felt like I was a part of something big. Not just like a big group, not just like something important, but I was standing at the threshold of the end of the world, and it was beautiful. And it was the only place that ever looked like my dreams. I know it was important, and I need you to know it was important. I'm sure you have places that are important to you, officer. Maybe you could tell me about them.
Very good. Let's just take a quick 3-minute break so I can grab water, use the bathroom, and then we'll jump to stars and wishes.
Let's fucking do it.
All right. Yeah, I'm not sure if that caught. We'll find out in the recording. Wow. Okay. Anyway,
I hope it
moving
did.
on. Stars and wishes. Anyone, whoever would like to go first, be my guest.
Okay. Uh, chaotic.
Yes.
I really liked our scene together, and I really liked the way of like I was able to take a step back after being very big with the detective, and like you kind of like really kind of like took the baton of that scene, and I was able just to like react to things that you were saying. It was really cool. That felt really good. Also, your prices that you paid and everything like that. Man, fucking somebody help this kid. Come on, man. Like, get him out of this house. Somebody get him a nice, like, apartment that's, like, downtown or something. Get him away from this. Look, sometimes you gotta cut the cord, all right? And, like, honestly, like, like, nobody's gonna be like your mother, but sometimes, take it from me. You're going down a road that you don't want to go down. And next thing you know, your mother's sending you weird underwear packages and you're living in the attic of your house, and Brown Jenkins has moved in because you're having to sublet a little bit. So like watch out. But it's very entertaining and it's uh, very spooky. Um, Also, Daniel, we had a little bit of like an understated, a little bit of more like a more casual Jessica this time, which I did appreciate because while I do appreciate the moments where Jessica is twisting a crime boss's balls in a vice grip, socially, and like you kind of like taking control of situations and like maneuvering different locations. I really like that. I really liked yours and Mary Jane Doe's like little connective moment in the diner, and just kind of like shooting the shit and recapping on some things and getting y'all's characters' insights. I like getting characters' insights through conversation, where it's just kind of like, can we talk about what is happening? Can we just have a? I know it's just recapping stuff that we at the table have all experienced, but it's like, can we just kind of like process it in character? And so it felt very much like that, and you really kind of like set the tone for that, and I appreciate it. And then Bnar, um, it's fucking weird, because like. I think about if I was alive during the Manson t era, and if I was in Southern California and Los Angeles, and I was a young, impressionable young person that liked marijuana, and I came across a woman that spoke like that and said things like far out and didn't wear shoes and anything like that, and had some marijuana and everything like that, I'm pretty sure I would be like, yeah, I want to meet your buddy Richie. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, go ahead and show me far out, man. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can take my car for sure. Man, you really live far outside the city, you know? It's kind of do you hitchhike all the time? And then, I end up dead. So yeah, I can absolutely see that. And then Alex, um, really good, just like scene setting. Also, it was like a really like masterful keepering that was happening today of just you didn't have guardrails or anything. You were just kind of like nudging us along. You're like one of those amusement park or water park attendants that's just making sure that all the inflatables are making their way down the lazy river and just pushing us along and letting us kind of have our own direction. So that was very nice and pleasant. Wishes. All of us together at one. If it has to be a city desk scene, that's okay. If we got to do a fucking Stephen King's It Chinese restaurant like Lazy Susan dinner, I would love that. I want to see what crosstalk looks like between all of us and like kind of like going through and processing some things. I'm also excited to see how we concoct taking on the Gemini killer. I really want to incorporate Hester in that as well because I don't want to just like have Alphonse be like Roy Green died, and so I'm going to take all the shine. Like, no, Hester's been harassed by this guy a lot too, so like
Mhm.
very much wanting Hester involved as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Later, losers. I'm still here. I'm not leaving. I just wanted to say later, losers.
I'll go next if unless Chaotic wanted to go because I saw they were unmuted. But now they're lost in the sauce.
Lost in the sauce go.
Okay, I just saw them disappear into the background. So, oh my gosh, this was astounding. This is astounding. Alex, I fucking love how you paced having three different stories and two that we're actively resolving. That's a lot of That's a lot of story points, and we all went different places. Like at one point we were all in different places and we did a lot of like and you just the pacing was perfect. Absolutely perfect. I can't remember her name, but the lady Jessica talked to on the phone. I'm obsessed with this old agent. Like I love her. I want to be her friend. Um I loved the actress that Hester spoke to. I love all your side characters. I I really just it was very like they're all very real people, but I think my favorite was the cop that just fucking barged into Alphonse's house. Like this is normal and dealing with that. That was very funny. Like, and even though I cleared musophobia, I do love Jenkin. I love he's so he's so fucked. I can't wait to see this little rat again. I don't even know what mystery he's a part of. He's just awful. And your voice for him is freaky. So I'm excited to see how the Gemini becomes a fucking uh a conspiracy clue. Like, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. This is delightful. 10 out of 10, no notes, Alex. Speaking of the detectives scene, Alphonse. Alphonse, the prop work, Wes, the intensity, I could feel it. Just the everything about Alphonse in that what a cool way to start the whole thing with being like, no, he's only eaten yogurt for the past like however long this has been. He's only drinking grenadine and a Finnish whiskey, which like by the way, cool tie-in to the mask, the Finnish thing and the yeah, that was I saw that. I saw that. That was slick. The fact that you came in wearing a blue velvet robe, like just the everything. Like, have you showered? Like, yeah, last week. Like the six fucking locks, the wild like string board thing. Just props, also just props to you as a person and a player for the Gemini theory. That was cool as hell. That that was what an amazing way to come back from we thought this was people. This is way more than just people. And the keeping Dr. Conan Hall doing jail time for child abduction as like a thing we can use. Oh, what a fun way to keep all of these side characters kind of here and ready to use. Oh, I love it. I love Alphonse. I agree with you, Wes. One of my this is a preemptive wish. I do want to see us all in a room together. Like I need this again. I don't know when it's gonna be, but I do need us all in a room together because we are all so normal and well adjusted. Just judging by that price, it was all we are all so normal and well adjusted. Speaking of normal and well-adjusted, Hester, you little freak. I love your price prompts. I agree with Wes. I love your price prompts. That last one was crazy. I actually felt bad for Hester. I was like, oh, he's just a little guy. He's just a little guy. He's doing his best. Also, I'm sorry, born in 1932. Was that about you? Like, I have thoughts. I know it's
Uh,
the 70s, but like
1938.
sorry, 38. Oh yeah, those those
Oh, so
6 years.
you're 30 something then.
Yeah, in like mid 30s. Yeah,
Mid
Okay,
30s.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was doing my math wrong. I was thinking like
Young
in
man.
young
Old
man.
boy. Old
yeah,
boy.
an
Very
old
old boy.
boy.
A
You're an
very old
old
boy.
child. Like
Young
I
man.
fucking love Hester. You're so strange. The fucking birthmarks, the just at the everything. I love this little freak. I can't wait to see how Hester and Alphonse specifically handle the Gemini because I feel like it's going to be you two really holding the reins here. Um, unless Jessica really wants to get crazy with it. Yes, I agree. What a little prince, very distinguished. Um, can't wait to see how this all falls apart for you, Hester, for your with your inheritance. So excited. Jessica. Jessica, I loved our scene together. That was so fun, Daniel. Oh my gosh. Jessica feels like such a real, sincere person, and I feel like that's such a it's a reflection on you as a player and also like how you've created her because she is this very manipulative person and she's got a lot of fingers and a lot of pies, but like at the end of the day, if she doesn't want to manipulate you, she's very sincere. And I really liked that. That felt really cool to see that side of her where she's like, I'm not really sure about all this. I don't actually like all the murder. That's um shocking, but I find it unsavory. I did gossip columns and I ruined people's lives in a not murder way. And so this is like way beyond what I like. And being like, well, maybe I should talk to Sal. Roy is dead. Was really like that was a fun little reminder like oh yeah she's still very driven and that was very fun like obviously Mary Jane agrees with her, but like that was so cool. And then being like, even though you're short on time or whatever your condition is, the behind schedule, that you were like, no, I'm still gonna call his agent. I'm still gonna bother Charlie Firth's agent and just be like, hey. But like this one may not have been about you, but I feel like this was important. And getting that angle was it felt very much like listening to a real reporter. And it was very fun. I loved it. Loved getting to hang out in a coffee shop with you. Loved getting to do this. Loved all of it. 10 out of 10, no notes. Can't wait. Can't wait to see what happens. Can't wait to see all of this get worse.
Yeah, this was very fun. I'll jump in really quickly with mine. Uh, Also starring the scene between Jessica and Mary Jane. I like the energy the two of you had in that interaction, and I don't know. It feels like there is a lot of room for this to get very toxic, and I'm excited about that possibility. Um, I liked Hester's approach to speaking with Carla. I thought there was like it was a there was a we love these vaguely humanizing moments for a couple of these characters for the freaks. I really did enjoy the hell out of I mean Wes, your prop work and the whole demeanor of Alphonse's presentation. The session was great, but yeah, the theory was fucking killer. I'm stoked about where that's going, and even more stoked that it's a conspiracy clue. Because that it has fun campaign implications. Let's see, what else do I have? I want to say that I mean, I echo everything that's already been said. I don't think I have any additional stars I wanted to throw out there. I'm sort of like, again, very happy with where the Gemini has gone because of accepting the previous like missed role, and that like led to this narrative. So that's really interesting and cool, and I really like where that's at right now. I think it culminated in this theory, which serves the story a lot more, and I'm excited about it. So my wishes are mostly just, oh, I'm excited about what we're going to be doing next and exploring these threads, because things are becoming overtly supernatural in a couple of ways, but we still have some relatively like mundane things. Um anyway, yeah. So hey, good times.
I'll go next. Wes, star for Alphonse's movie that includes Gay Minors with an E. Another star for you're getting a lot of gold stars for the props. I liked your tile pattern in the chapel because it makes it just seem like Arkham's just like this weird place. And you know, even this chapel has like some kind of like aura to it that's hard to explain. And a big star for your nucleus thought pattern to busting this wide open. That was really cool. And I could really see it. Chaotic. I kind of liked your star for your disdain for the detective in the beginning, and a big star for your not getting icky with Carla, but instead connecting with her about your just really normal family and like, you know, making her feel more at ease by talking about how just totally normal your family is and relating to another human. I really appreciate MJ being so supportive of sorry, Mary Jane, so supportive of Jessica. I felt like Mary Jane was on her side. A star for Burnin. This must be a dream to remove the mythos condition. That was really it's I think it's the first. That's our first one that we've seen um, removed, and so it was cool to see it in that using that option. And a star for standing on the threshold of the end of the world. It seemed like Mary Jane was a little bit too excited about that. Um, Alex, lots of cool side characters. I'm gonna go put my star on the detective with the colorful suspenders and the quote, the amount of ulcers I have received. Uh, yeah, that guy wasn't giving Alphonse any sympathy, but it seemed kind of like there was like some camaraderie there. But it's really cool with you and Wes both, and the line I really like the line where and then Alphonse like owned up to it, where the cop was like, you know, secretly you love being that close to the case, and then star for Wes's reaction, and And then off camera, you guys didn't get to see it, but a star for Alex's insight on method acting.
Yeah, definitely liked the cop character. Like he seems a lot more sympathetic than the previous ones we have met.
What's his name? We keep saying the cop was
Jack
Uh,
McLaughlin.
Jack McLaughlin, who I keep on hearing his name, so like I keep on misspelling it as different names. Uh, uh Definitely like sympathetic and absolutely correct about Alphonse really enjoying being close to the case like that. A little bit sad that that Hester was not there for that part of the conversation because he would have been like, really now? Um a little bit too interested in that aspect. Definitely I do like have reasons why Hester really does not like cops. We'll find out about that later. But
Because
stuff.
Dalmatians killed his mother by pushing her over a cliffside. Sorry, I'm sorry, continue. I'm sorry.
Anti-star for that, Wes. Keeping harassing me about things.
Wes
I
fled.
don't exist anymore. I'm sorry.
Oh, spooky.
Spooky. Like I gotta give like a general star for people's framing of prices in like very different ways, with Mary Jane being like an interview, Alphonse just being like, these are items part of my collection. Just going with a very standard like sort of flashback type of deal. Uh yeah, God, I love my little weird little guy. I love him in his weird little house. Uh, uh Star for Mary Jane just being like, oh, Alphonse, he's really going through a rough time right now. He's missing his boyfriend. Even though uh Hester knows that it was not his boyfriend. It just like absolutely that is not the relationship there. Uh God, Jessica, you know how to get shit done. Just productive. Even though you took like more of a supporting role this session. Um, uh, Excellent framing on breaking the case wide open, Wes and Alex just being like, yeah, that consequence of just like, yeah, you're gonna have to mark the Harringtons, and I'm like, no, Hester is not gonna be a creep in this moment. God, just like that is a very good consequence. So normally I would have taken it, but not in that moment. So got a good opportunity to mark a price for Hester, so we get to learn a little bit of his freaky little backstory.
Any other stars or wishes people want to throw out there?
I have one more because Chaotic reminded me of it about the framing of prices. Daniel, that Jessica was at Watergate was crazy. That was, I needed to highlight that for the viewers. Holy shit. Holy shit. That was cool. I love that you remind us what era we're in sometimes. And you're like, no, Jessica could have interviewed Spiro Agnew and been there at Watergate. Fuck
And
yeah,
that,
she
and
was.
that place has a vibe that matches Jessica because it looks
So
cool, but
much.
once you get close to it, it does have like a weird vibe. Like the hotel, like the
Yes.
grounds has like a you're like, this is unsettling. And especially like once you get inside and you realize how it's all arrayed inside and everything like that, you're like, and it's only just tied to the fact of like the Watergate scandal is the thing that's like tied to it, and it's like a bureaucratic thing, but it's just one of those places that has a weird vibe.
And it's got her vibe all over it. Like,
Yep.
that was so perfect.
I could see her at the bar mingling.
Awesome. Well, with that said, I will bring our recording and this session to a close.